Hi guys, welcome back to Mrs Gurney's tutorials. Today I thought I'd make some flapjack. It's Bank Holiday Monday and there I am thinking I've just found a load of oats in the cupboard, let's make a flapjack. So I'm going to show you very quickly about what we're going to do. I'm using my favourite baking book in the world. There we go, no plug to Mary Berry there. Okay, wonderful, available on Amazon. And we're making her flapjack recipe. So I'll put all the details on YouTube and also on Teams for you guys as well, so you've got the recipe and all the quantities there as well. Okay, so I've taken a picture of the book, so I'll put it on there for you. Okay, so what I've weighed out here is into my bowl. I've got 225 grams of just normal salted butter. I've got 225 grams of, it says Demerara sugar, but I am using light soft brown sugar. You could use caster sugar, but obviously it's going to change the colour of it. So if you can get a brown sugar or Demerara sugar, then that's going to be better. The darker the brown the sugar, the darker the flapjack's going to become. Okay, and then also in there I've got 75 grams of golden syrup. Okay, so it's not the healthiest of recipes, guys, but as a treat for half term or for the coming weeks, you know, if you're needing something, just a bit of sugar to help you along with your studying at home, then this might be a recipe for you. So what I'm going to do then is, because this is a recipe that we've got to cook, so remember guys, your health and safety on this, you're going to have to make sure that mums and dads are around, just to make sure that you're not going to, you know, burn yourself or anybody else, okay, for that matter, or the house or anything else. Okay, so just be really mindful of the fact that you're going to be using heat, some sort of live flame, I imagine. Okay, so this is a hob recipe. And an oven recipe for that matter, because it all needs to be baked. So what I'm going to do is I'm transferring it all out of my bowl into my saucepan, as you can see, and I'm going to put it onto my hob. Now remember, health and safety, guys, make sure everything is away from your hob when you turn it on. So before I started filming, I also did a lined tray with just some butter on there. Just make sure, guys, that you have got your parchment paper, and make sure you've got your butter on there as well, just because otherwise it's not going to come out and you're going to be eating out of a tin with a fork, okay, which isn't the most attractive way of eating flapjack. So make sure you've got that ready and prepared. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to turn my hob on. So there we go, I've got my flame going, as you can see it, and I'll try and bring it over to you to show you in a bit. Basically, this has got to melt down, okay? Now, while this is melting down, I can do the next weighing part of my recipe. Move that there. So I'm going to bring my scales in. Now, when we're using our scales, these are much the same as the ones that I use at school, guys, with you. These are the Salter brand ones. So what I do is I put it flat. There's no point in me showing you up in the air because it won't work. So it needs to be flat, and you press the 0 button. And remember, when we're weighing, it has to be on 0, and you want it on the unit of grams. So the little G for you to be able to weigh. If I put my bowl on top, I'm now weighing the bowl. You don't weigh the bowl, you want to put what's inside it as the weight. So I'm going to press my 0 button again, okay? And at this point, I'm going to check my recipe. So I need 275 grams of porridge oats. So I've got my porridge oats here. That's a good way of using up the oats that you might find in your cupboard, like I did this morning. Okay, so 275 grams. Oh, too much. Right, remember, it's washing your hands as well before you start. 275, perfect, wonderful. Right, so that's ready to go. I'll clip back on there. There we go. Right, now at this stage, I'm going to give this a little stir. Okay, now you've got a live flame going on, you've got something on the hob. Never ever leave that pan unattended, guys. Okay, you need to make sure that you're stirring. If you don't stir it, your sugar and your syrup is all going to burn at the bottom. So when you're weighing your oats, it might be a good idea just to get mum or dad or a grown-up or another person in your household just to stand by your hob, just give it a quick stir just to make sure it doesn't catch at the bottom. Now once all this is melted, essentially then is we put the oats into the pan of the hot syrup. Now, I can't stress this enough, guys, that sugar in there is going to get up to an immense temperature, a really high temp. It's a burning hazard. Do not be tempted to put your hands in that pan of syrup and sugar, okay, because you're going to be going to hospital with burns up your arm. All right, so for goodness sake, make sure that you're not putting your hands in. Likewise, when you take it out of the oven, okay, you need to be careful with that, the oven as well, okay. So I'm just going to really give it a good mix now, so my butter's starting to sizzle and melt in there. You might be able to hear it over my voice. Yeah, my butter's right melting down now. Beautiful. And at this point, it's starting to look really nice and thick and glossy. And that's the butter coming through. That's the fats in the butter mixing with your syrups and your sugars. Okay? But I can't stress enough, do not put your hands in here. Okay? Right. Keep stirring until all that butter is melted, and I'll come and show you in just 1 second. Right, we are nearly there. Remember, stir, stir, stir. Careful not to splash it up you. I think it's really, really nice recipe as well because it's so versatile that you can do anything with it. So you can put dried fruits in there if you wanted to. So like raisins, sultanas, cherries. You could put seeds in there. So your pumpkin seeds, your sunflower seeds, if you wanted to add a little extra protein into that. You could also add chocolate in there as well, so chocolate chips, okay, but just be careful with your chocolate chips, sometimes they sink to the bottom, okay, so just be careful with that. So I'm nearly ready to show you what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to take it off the heat in a second and I shall show you. I'm just waiting for that last little bit of butter to melt. Now I put my butter in massive big blocks. So I was a bit lazy this morning. If I was you, I'd perhaps try and cut them up before you start on the hob because smaller pieces melt quicker. It's that simple. Right, now I'm going to turn my heat off and I'm going to bring this over to show you what it looks like very carefully. So as you can see, it's all melted. It's looking all nice and brown and oh, syrupy, wonderful. But please, please, please do not put your hands in, okay? Right, I'm going to take my porridge oats at this stage and I'm just simply going to tip them in and try and get all that lovely gooiness that out of the bowl as well. And then let's move that over there. Then I'm going to stir like crazy. I'm going to bring it over here so you can see. Okay, I'm going to stir like crazy just to incorporate and mix in, combine all of those lovely ingredients together. Okay, so all that gooey, buttery, syrupy mixture and my lovely, lovely oats there. Okay. And what you should have is the makings of a beautiful looking flapjack. Oh my goodness me, that is wonderful. I might take some of this on a picnic later, I think that would be quite nice. Okay, there we go. Right, so next stage, I don't need my scales anymore. Put them away. So I've got my pan. Put it there so you can see me emptying it. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to empty my mixture onto my tray that I pre-prepared. Remember, make sure it's got a liner on it. Make sure it's got that baking parchment and some butter on there as well, please. Okay, because otherwise you're never going to get it out. All right, and all I'm going to do then is with the back of my spoon, I'm going to spread it into the corners of my baking tray. Okay, now my baking tray is probably a little bit big for this, so I think probably what I'll do is I'll just do half of my baking tray. Don't waste it on your spoon, okay, and don't be tempted to lick it either, okay, because that's going to hurt. Right, so I've got it up to there, and I'm just going to fold my baking parchment in, like so. And then I'm ready to go in the oven, guys, okay? So I'm just going to pop that in my oven now. Now, my oven is set to 140 degree fan, 160 degrees Celsius, or gas mark 3. So I'm going to pop that in my oven. Make sure you're using either a tea towel or oven gloves, best possible thing that you can use if you've got them. And it's going to be in my oven for 35 minutes. So set your timer to 35 minutes, guys, okay? And when it comes out, just be careful because it's obviously going to be really, really hot. It says it makes 24 squares. Not so sure it will, but there we go, okay? Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put all the necessary information that you need to make this recipe on YouTube and on Teams as well, like I said. Have a lovely rest of your day and enjoy.